In Last Night in Soho, we follow Eloise, who goes to London to chase her dream of being a fashion designer. But after moving into a flat, she begins to have visions of the 60s and a mysterious woman named Sandy, who also had similar dreams, albeit to be a singer. Hello, everybody. My name is Josh, your movie apprentice, and I am back from the London Film Festival with a lot of movies to catch up on review wise. So I could only start with Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. This film was an absolute joy to watch. I don't think Edgar Wright can miss. Edgar Wright is one of those directors that has such consistency that even his good films feel very average compared to his great movies. I feel Last Night in Soho is definitely on the higher end of the Edgar Wright movies. ThomasinMcKensie is by far the standout within this movie. If you somehow missed her in Jojo Rabbit, or you've just been sleeping on them, you will not be sleeping on them anymore because she is absolutely fantastic in this movie. She demonstrates vulnerabilities as well as a slow descent into madness, and the warm nature of Eloise as a character is very good to see, and she just nails it out of the park. Anya Taylor-Joy is not in this as much as you would think, so I will warn that straight away. She is still very good. Her performance is more non-verbal as opposed to verbal, but she does a very good job indeed. I'm just a little bit worried that some people are going to go into this expecting a lot more of her than what they get. She is very much a secondary character within this film. Diana Rigg as well in a final ever performance. What a way to go out. She is no nonsense as ever, and she delivers such a fun performance worthy of her talents. She is going to be sourly missed, but at least she went out on a real high note. Matt Smith as well continues the tradition of ex-doctors from Doctor Who playing absolute assholes. This character he plays in this is very similar to the Purple Man in terms of dynamics with the other characters. The only difference is he doesn't have any mind control powers to make people do whatever they want instantly. But back to the movie itself, it's very stylistic, which I feel like is an obvious point to make, but it has to be really emphasized. It's a different sort of stylistic to Edgar Wright's traditional films. Gone are the quick cuts, and they're replaced with more elaborate set pieces. A particular highlight for me is a dance sequence that is done through many hidden cuts, and it's so stylistic, and just the neon glow of the strip in Soho. It's a gorgeous film to look at. Edgar Wright did express some fear at the fact that he put the horror label on this, and I see what it means because it's not really a horror movie, but more of a psychological thriller, I would say. It has a great pacing from start to finish in terms of Eloise's character's slow descent into madness that is played out through how she looks, how she acts. It's just a nice journey to watch, and as I've already stated, Thomasin plays that aspect beautifully. The final act will divide people. It seems to have divided a number of people that saw it at the film festival. For me personally, I bought it, and I like how Edgar Wright kept to his traditions of hinting at things early on. He always leaves them little clues and Easter eggs in the early parts of his films, but he also tries to flip the switch a little bit. There are a couple of elements that look like they're about to finally come into play, but they end up not coming into play. Now, I had to have some flaws with this movie. I will say there are some elements in the pacing that don't really work. It can get a bit jarring at times, and the ending, whilst I enjoyed what it was going for, it did leave a bit of a plot hole in my mind because it relies on characters forgetting a specific act that our lead does early on in the movie. So you have to really suspend your disbelief just a little bit with it. There's also a relationship that's featured within this. Actually, there's a couple of relationships, and neither feel fully fleshed out. One feels very forced, and one isn't focused on enough. At the end of the day, the big relationship in this is between Eloise and Sandy crossing paths in these two different time periods. It's a very colourful and vibrant film, and the psychological horror elements of this work really well. It did generally make me uneasy at times, which is something that a lot of things that are trying to be horror don't really do for me these days. So I have to give the film a massive well done for that. Before I get into my grade, if you are enjoying what you see on this channel, consider clicking that like button and subscribing for more reviews like this coming all the time. I have a lot of films from London Film Festival to get through. I had planned to do 10, but it seems thanks to a few polls I've done, there's at least number 5 that I need to look at. As well as Dune and Halloween Kills, I'm going to have a busy couple of weeks. But without further ado, get into my grade. As I've said, Edgar Wright is a very stylistic director and he hits the nail on the head with this one. He does a very good job at directing this. I would argue it's probably his best directed movie because some of the sequences that take place and the way the story unravels is really cleverly done, and it's definitely a step up from his Baby Driver. This won't be as open to American audiences as it will be to the British ones, but it is still a fun ride nonetheless, and it's held up by some brilliant performances, especially from ThomasinMcKensie and Diana Rigg. So with all that being said, I'm going to have to say Last Night in Soho for me is a good cup of tea. So Last Night in Soho, have you seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Again, like we're doing the channel, subscribe, click the bell notification, click the like, and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Coming up on the channel, lots of London Film Fest to catch up on, as well as Dune, which I'm seeing this evening. But until next time, everybody, my name is Josh. I have been your Media Apprentice, and I'll see you